welcome to Eclipse Theory Games, podcast where we bring you the latest in gaming news, indie reviews, and everything else under the sun. My name is Kendall, and I'm here with my co-host
Tony, aka Mr. Porkchop and the Big Thinkers.
It was not bad. It was not bad. I'm not mad. We're going with the food theme. I'm not mad at it.
Nah, that's Doug, nigga.
Oh yeah, you know what? You just bumped it up a couple points. You just bumped it up a couple points with the pork chop reference.
I got that idea from Danny. She said so she had some tweet. Somebody was slandering Doug. She was like, "Y'all niggas not big thinkers." I replied to that shit. I'm like, that gave me an idea. So I've been holding on to that one for this one.
This just became a 10 right there. Yeah. Like, that's perfect, bro. That's perfect. How can you slander Doug? Before I get into that,
ABC Doug, you can slander. Nickelodeon Doug, you cannot.
Man, I liked AB. I liked all the Doug. I mean, give me any Doug you can get. But before I go into my spiel about Doug, I want to welcome my man James back to the podcast. What's up, brother?
Just making it back, had it down, COVID, a whole bunch of different things, but I'm back.
Yeah. We had to hold it down for a little while, but we are back to talk about this episode's theme, which is who's out here slandering Doug? Like, how can you? I don't know. No, actually, we had to come back together to talk about the PlayStation State of Play that happened yesterday. We're recording the day after on Friday, so we're going to kind of run down all the biggest announcements, all the things that PlayStation decided to kind of focus on for the rest of the year, because we didn't know a whole lot about PlayStation's slot, and I want to talk about how strongly we feel about Sony going forward from here. But I know you guys both got a chance to check out the State of Play. How are we feeling overall? Like what would you grade yesterday's State of Play?
See.
Okay.
But
yeah. Okay. That's
mid. Like it's mid, but yeah, it's gonna be because we are a week out from Summer Games Fest. So
yeah.
Is it Summer Games Fest or is it Summer Game Fest?
I fuck it up every single
time. The plurality of it has been fucking with me because I'm like, if it's Summer Game Fest, that just sounds weird.
I kind of give up, honestly. Like, I'm going with whatever comes out at any given moment. Jeff, you knew what you did, bro. But I can agree. Mid is you both pretty much said mid in different ways. So yeah, it was pretty. But my argument, even when we talked about it in text, Tony, is that it's kind of usually mid. Like, I know you were saying that we often do get some bangers. Like, sometimes we'll get a nice announcement. But how I feel it plays out is, or at least early on, was that we'll get like a boring ass showcase and then, Final Fantasy or Resident Evil or whatever at the very end. So this one kind of had a nice little splash for a certain crowd. Like, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But, it had its little moments. It had some stuff that I'm interested in playing at least. So I feel like it's still worth breaking down. It might be a quicker breakdown, but we'll run through these games and see how we feel. So starting at the top, man, we got to look at Concord, which is actually one of the Sony games that they talked about for a little while. One of the free-to-play games that they've been pushing. They want to really push this like games as a service model that everybody's jumping onto at the worst possible time. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But we did actually get a good look at it. I mean, we got mostly a CGI look at it, but the CGI had like a lot of people were comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy. That vibe was definitely there. It was funny. That's what I'll give it. And then the gameplay actually had a hero shooter vibe, so it's like Overwatch themed, and people called that out a lot. I know that the trailer on YouTube does not have a good like to dislike ratio right now, but I don't know. Is there any hype in the room for Concord, or are we kind of with the internet on this one?
I'm here for it. I thought, I told you in the text, I hate the fact that I hate when people fall for like cinematics and shit, but it was well written. Like, it made me want to see more of the characters. And I think that's more important than anything. And then the gameplay looks solid. I mean, there's only but so much you can do with a hero shooter. And I'm still chasing the Brink High from 360 era. So I'm still trying to find one that's going to lock me in like that. Overwatch did it for a little bit, then they dropped the ball, and then they completely and totally threw the ball off a cliff with Overwatch 2. So I'm still in the market for a hero shooter that I'm just going to stick with.
Not mad at that. James, I know I played a little bit of Overwatch with both of y'all, but I definitely played with you and Carl a lot. Would you jump into this one, or is it kind of like one that you'll pass up on?
Just me looking at it. I mean, it's something that I would play for how long. That's the question.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I have to agree with Tony. Overwatch 1, I probably played that game so much. Overwatch 2, I think the issue was that it was just Overwatch 1, just with some new characters, basically. Honestly, I think,
Damn near made us pay to get everything back.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I felt like what a saved that game would have been the the story mode that they were talking about, where you could
Yep.
do all this crazy stuff. I feel like that's what people wanted because, again, what do you do when you get tired of playing, you know,
Yeah.
the online mode? You know, you want to do something else. So for me, like I said, what I saw, I liked it. I liked I definitely enjoyed the characters. I think games like that, that's what really brings you in is the characters and playing the characters and seeing the lore and different things like that. So for me, I would definitely play it, but like I said, I would just question like how long would the game grasp my attention? Also, what it looks like there's only like a handful of characters right now, so just how would it keep my attention? Really?
Yeah, that's really like the key question when it comes to these new shooters with nothing backing them. Like we're gonna talk about Marvel Rivals in a little bit, which is gonna be a good conversation to have. But in comparison to this, this one coming out with like this fresh slate of characters, and it seems like it's kind of leaning on the story mode and everything. It's got a new cinematic every week, is what they're saying they're going for with this, which is crazy. And
Yeah,
I
every
think
time you
is
turn the shit on.
yeah, I don't know how long that's gonna, continue for because that's a lot of cinematic. I mean, if
I
Overwatch
mean,
could do that,
you probably got them shits in the tuck.
yeah, you would think, but yeah, at least for a while. But like, how many? You got to think that's 52 a year. Like that's a lot of cinematics. You're gonna come up with a nice
I mean,
sizable,
if you consider like it's an online game, so they want to get you in really quickly.
yeah,
It'll probably be like a minute and a half. You could
yeah.
probably that 52 with a minute and a half. You're talking about basically an hour's worth of cinematics. That's a game.
That's fair. That's fair. You put your whole cinematic budget into that and doable for at least a year. After that, it's not going to
Yeah,
continue
then you
long
got some
term.
questions.
Like,
Yeah, then you
yeah,
got some questions. But
there's no way. I'll give them a year as possible. I'm not even going to say that a year is necessarily what's going to happen. It's all going to depend on, because if they blew the budget on that, that means that this game has a hefty budget to meet.
right.
So we'll see how this turns out. I'm interested, but I'm not like jumping to grab my controller. We also got.
Can we talk about the fact that I just realized that James looks like Royce the 5'9"?
I can see it.
To be compared to somebody that's dope like that, I'll take it. I'll take
There you go. Yeah, but I think the glasses are helping with that. Current day worse.
Yeah,
But not.
yeah. No alcohol, Royce.
Yeah, absolutely. Respect to that worse. um, okay, so next up we got, this is kind of a quick announcement that we'll kind of breeze right through. God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC this year. So it's pretty dope to see Sony making that push to PC and kind of porting things over, but they keep fucking it up because they're requiring you to have a PSN profile and like log into that or you can't play the game. And some reasons
They learn nothing.
yeah, the Helldivers thing was a fiasco. There was another guy, I can't remember what came after Helldivers, but they had a second fiasco. Now they have this situation coming, like brewing.
I
And
think after the Helldivers, that was the layoffs. I think it was like 900 people right after that.
oh yeah, no, I just meant specifically the PSN. Yeah, the PSN account thing was like a whole thing for a couple games, I believe. But it's crazy that it's still continuing. Like I get trying to push your platform like that, but you're fucking it up. Like it's causing problems and it's making the reception of your PC push go down the toilet. People would much rather just pass up on the game like they were already.
Making it a requirement is absolutely nuts. Like in the first place, but to do it after you already got shit for trying it the first time, that's just dumb.
Yeah, yeah. And it's one of the things where people will try it until it works because they're forcing you to deal with it. And I'm glad that it's getting a lot of pushback, and I'm glad that we kind of having these conversations about it. So hopefully they will learn. Who knows if they'll find some way to work around this and like figure something out because I feel like they have to. But if you're gonna continue this route, like it's gonna be a bad look. But next up, we actually got an announcement of a new Dynasty Warriors game, Dynasty Warriors Origins, coming out next year. I wasn't really much of a Dynasty Warriors guy. You know, I didn't really play them back in the day, but I don't know if you guys were pop for this at all. But
Boring.
that's
man,
a no.
sometimes I just need to sit down and beat the shit out of shit without thinking. Dynasty Warriors was perfect for that. I used to work in a fucking grocery store.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing better than coming home from grocery store and just beating up on 1,000 motherfuckers just for no reason.
1,000 customers. Just all
yeah,
in
man,
line.
just run through it, dog. I would sit there for 3-4 hours and play that shit.
Hey,
So
look,
I'm here for it on the current gen.
So like
man.
those games earlier were exciting. They were okay. I think what happened is that when they started making the Hyrule ones and the Fire Emblem ones and all of those, they started to be better.
Yeah, Age of Calamity was the shit.
Yeah, and it's just like going back to regular Dynasty Wars is just
Yes, I'm interested to see if you still hold that opinion after playing this, because it's possible they learned a lot from those games that they put out, more recently.
They put out 9 of those and they've all been the same game. So
the issue is that there is some historical like groundwork in the original series. And some of the ones going forward, but when you got into like Hyrule Warriors, it was Zelda shit. So like that was kind of the hook, was Zelda shit and Dynasty Warriors. Yeah, let me go fuck shit up as Link.
Right.
So I think if they can find a way to make the story and characters interesting, it might hook people. But there's always going to be that because there is some historical background for it.
Also, I just think like because it was Zelda characters, they were able to make the combat more fun.
Yeah,
doing different things. And then like the Fire Emblem one, like they took stuff from the game and like, okay, spears, do more damage to shields and blah, blah, blah. Like it was kind of like they were using that. So it was kind of like when you put it together, it was like cool. Like I said, I played a lot of Dynasty Warriors. After 5, I just was like, oh, they just doing the same thing.
Yeah, this is
LeBou is still my man.
Yeah, I respect that take, honestly, because that's kind of why I didn't play them. Like, it did kind of bleed together, and I wasn't even aware until there was like 5 of them, and I was just like, kind of all blends together to me. But I can also always see the appeal, and that's what made me want to try Hyrule Warriors, and even like if you want to throw Persona 5 Strikers in there, like playing those games. Yeah, they felt different because they had that IP tied to them. But I like this era that they play around with the Dynasty Warriors series. So I'm interested in trying it out, seeing it maybe Eclipse for me in the modern era. But who knows? We'll see. I am gonna respectfully skip Infinity Nikki. Apparently that is like a pretty big series on like the mobile side of things. But it's like an RPG where like most of your abilities and stuff are based on like what you're wearing. So basically, I could dress up RPG,
yeah.
Shannon
Sharp, skip.
Yeah. I've heard that people really into it. It's not for pretty much anybody here, so we're gonna move right along. Because I do want to talk about Where Winds Meet. This is the game from Everstone Studios. It is. I think it's actually coming to other platforms, but I'm not sure entirely. It looks really dope. Like this is the one with like really high paced action. I think this was like the Souls like one because there's actually 2 games that kind of similar to me, but Where Winds Meet was more Souls likey and it has like a high fantasy type style. Kind of remind me of Sekiro a lot. It looked fucking fire. I can't wait for this one.
Well, you know how I feel about these games, so I'm going to be quiet on this one.
Hey man, listen.
I need to see more. That's where because again, I'm the same way. So I need to see a little more.
Yeah, Souls-like games kind of get brushed off by in a lot of situations, like where that's just a style of combat. When it's more about the pacing that makes it play like a Souls game with the difficulty and all that. So I think it looks pretty dope. But we do also have Ballad of Antara, which is it's an action RPG that's coming out that has a little bit more of that like fast paced, like I want to compare everything to like Devil May Cry that's not Souls, because that's how things end up getting compared to either Dark Souls or Devil May Cry or this Assassin's Creed or whatever. But it does have a little bit more speed to it, and I think this one actually looks pretty fire as well.
Yeah, I'm more interested in this game. Like even when we talked about Souls games, like you know me, I hated all of them, but I love Bloodborne though. Like that was like my favorite of
That's
those
like the
type of
universal one.
yeah. But like Souls games, Neo, with all those other, I was terrible at those. I was like, I don't want to play this shit. And I just turned it off. So
Nah,
Yes,
I
sir.
think this could be like a fast paced action adventure style eco. Like that's because like having the kid on your back kind of reminds me of that. Like how is that going to play into the shit?
Yeah, it's interesting mechanics. You know, it's got a pretty dope aesthetic. So, you know, I appreciate games when they kind of jump out there and do something different. And I think this kind of looks like something that could do that. We'll see what happens. You know, all these are kind of early looks, so definitely going to be dope to see how they plan out, man. I'm going to move along through the VR stuff. I'm not going to lie to y'all because
Yeah,
again,
get that. Yes, get that.
you
Get
know,
that.
but once again, like VR as a platform is always interesting to talk about because a lot of people are talking about this like the death knell for VR2. If y'all don't know, PSVR2 came out a couple years ago or something like that at a higher cost than the actual PS5 itself, which very controversial move. Did not pan out well to put it
Controversial
mildly.
meaning stupid.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty much not working. They put about 3 games into this. I feel like there's something to VR for real, but you have to do it right. And Sony kind of the first VR headset I was actually interested in owning. It had some cool games for it that I wanted to try. I even heard that Iron Man game for it was pretty dope, but this one is unfortunate that they had like the best tech and just didn't support it. So
You know what's wild? Is like I dump on Microsoft for doing dumb shit, but at least it's linear. Like they'll do something dumb and then just kind of pivot and go another direction. Maybe like tweak something. Sony will do some dumb shit and then double down. How the fuck you gonna come out here with the PS3 at $600, get fucked up on that, and then do this shit with the PSVR 2? Y'all motherfuckers don't learn nothing.
yeah, this it really baffles me the way that this all played out, you know, because you had the hardware, you had games on other platforms that you could bring over, but you didn't even do that. You know, you didn't put your biggest platforms onto this system, but you wanted to charge as much just based on the hardware. I guess it was for the niche VR audience, but just didn't work. So, you know, just like Sony will pretty much move right along from PSVR 2. Um, I am actually pretty excited about Marvel Rivals getting announced for console. You know, I think everybody here can pretty much agree on that
All
being
in.
one of the more anticipated Overwatch clones because they never hid the fact that they were Overwatch clone. They just put Overwatch abilities onto your favorite Marvel characters, which yes, I never realized how much I wanted this, but I can't wait to try it out for console. And they announced a couple new characters like Venom, Adam Warlock, both look pretty dope. So
Pretty
can't
sure
wait
that
for
was
this.
Black Panther at the end too.
Oh yeah, I think he was already in the like the beta and everything.
Was he? Okay, yeah, because they
Yeah.
put like they kind of teased it at the end, and I'm like, I could have sworn there was an announcement, but maybe I'm tripping. So I'm just gonna be excited again.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I haven't tried anybody, so I'm geeked to just get my hands on this game.
So yeah, I've been playing this game a little bit on PC. Um, and like I said, for me, I can't wait till they do the PlayStation version of it. I think when they switch it to the beta on the systems, I think it'll be more polished. Because on the
Mhm.
console, it's just it's not as polished. It's really like an alpha, so it's kind of like, hey, like test it out. But like
Yeah.
you said, like we talked about before, like I love Overwatch, but now you're telling me I get to play with like Marvel characters, like you really just sold it for me. I think the only issue with the game that they need to fix is the balancing of characters. Some
Mhm.
characters suck ass. I'm not gonna go into who suck ass, but some of them suck ass, and
Just
some of
tell me
them
it's not Doctor Strange.
no.
Okay.
And then some characters are super OP,
Yeah.
and they just obliterate people like really fast. So
I've
it's
heard
like,
that about Magic. So yeah.
yeah, like I mean, like Scarlet Witch is like OP as fuck in that game.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, in comics she is, but like
Right.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have to tone her down in the game because if you have her on your team, like you're probably gonna win a lot more games than you're gonna lose. That's my only really critique with the game so far is just the balance of it. To be
And I mean that's the one of those things that comes with time, and that's the reason we're in alpha, like you said, and we'll be in beta and things will kind of get cleaned up, and then full release will be, what we see now, where like, games like you kind of see it with Hades too. Like I was talking about playing that game, but I kind of put it to the side until we kind of get more content. They kind of flesh it out.
Yeah, we don't
Marvel,
need another early Junkrat situation.
facts, or
Oh,
Bastion. Hell yeah.
yeah, nah, you don't got one of those. Thank God. Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. So we also got another look at the Until Dawn, I guess remaster slash remake. They're just calling it Until Dawn, so I'm just gonna call it
I
Until
thought it
Dawn.
was Until
I f-
Dawn too, because also like I played the first game like a lot.
Mhm.
I actually wish I could go back because I made a lot of stupid ass decisions when I played that game. I'm not going to sit here a lot.
Yeah,
I think the only game I made worse decisions in was probably Heavy Rain. Um,
yeah.
but
I was right there with you.
yeah, but I feel like yeah, it's just I don't know if it's a retelling or if it's just a continuation. I don't know what they're doing. It looks good though. I want to get it, but I just don't know. Is it the same game or did they just redo a whole bunch of different stuff with it?
Mhm.
From what I've seen, it just seems like they just made it look better.
Yeah, which and I mean, it's not the biggest jump because the game already looked great to me. Like, which is why it's kind of hard to tell, what we're looking at.
Like
But
there's got to be something behind it. Like that just makes no sense to completely and totally just remaster it and re-release it. Because like you said, like if you played it, it's like a movie. You
right.
know, you played it, you kind of know what's up, and that's it.
Yeah, that's actually my thing about the fact that Until Dawn is getting a movie. I kind of want to transition to that conversation for a second because Until Dawn is special because it's a video game that feels like a movie. But if you take that and you make it a movie, it's just a movie now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do y'all think it's that good that it'll hold up in movie form as well? Or will it just be like another horror movie?
Depends on how it's done. I
Yeah.
mean, the setup in the game was dope. Just the way everything progressed was, but you're taking a what 5 to 6 hour game maybe and trying to distill that into 2 hours.
Right.
Like you're gonna be missing some shit, and of course you're gonna get people who made certain decisions who are gonna complain that their decisions weren't the decisions that made it in the game. So I mean, in the movie, so it's I don't know, it's gonna be weird. You just got to kind of see how it plays out.
I agree with it. It's going to be weird. The only thing I can think of is if they do, what was that damn movie? Final Destination, where they had the DVD and you could actually select a
Oh
different
yeah,
thing and it played out differently in the deleted scene. So you could select something else and that person didn't die and it showed like a different part of the movie. That's the only way that that could work. Um,
That could be interesting.
but other than that, like I said, it would just be like, well, if I play the game, I didn't make that decision. So why did that happen? I
Hmm.
actually did this.
great.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll see how that plans out. Both the game and the movie pretty soon. I know the game is slated for this fall, so it's coming this year. Um, we also got Path of Exile 2 releasing early access coming later this year. It's I know that was the first one anyway, was pretty well received by people that like Diablo, like it has similar vibes. Um,
I'm playing.
Yeah,
yeah, I can
but
definitely dig. I
I
kind of
don't know.
slept on
I don't need to
both.
convince myself of that one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like I played a lot of Diablo with James, and it was pretty, pretty dope, especially with friends. It was me, James, other friends of ours. But uh, looking at this one, just kind of with a new appreciation for this game play style, I can definitely jump into this.
It's got
Think I'll
couch
enjoy
co-op.
it.
You got to pull up. We got to do this shit old school.
Man, listen, couch co-op should always be celebrated. Honestly, like that's such a rare thing now. Terrible, but. Next up, we have the Silent Hill 2 remake, kind of getting shown off a little bit more along. We getting a release date of October 8th. So that's exciting for all the fans of old school horror games. I know we just saw a really good stretch of these remakes in the Resident Evil series. So I'm excited to see how Silent Hill 2 pans out. Trailers to me look kind of rough. Like it doesn't look like it's necessarily on that same level of quality. And I know Silent Hill 2 as a game is on that level of quality with like a Resident Evil 2 or whatever. So I'm I'm just gonna wait and see how it plays when it actually drops.
I think the only thing with this is that, like I said, it's a remake, and like the Resident Evils were like a re-gutting of the game itself. So like even if you go and you play Resident Evil 4, which everybody played probably 3,000 times because they release it with every console, but the remake of that game is like superb.
It's a new
like,
game.
it's like it don't make sense how like Resident Evil 4 was already good. You just took it to a whole different level. And like you said, when I watched the trailer of Silent Hill, I was like, is it gonna do that? And it just looked like okay, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
It definitely doesn't. It feels like it's more of a reskin in a way. I mean, it is being remade. Like I don't know how from the ground up it is. But I know that they're doing a lot of work to it. But it still looks like it plays how it did back in the original form. So whereas, like you said, Resident Evil, they changed all the tank control stuff that people didn't like originally. So definitely gonna be a different vibe. Definitely kind of more of a wait and see, which is most of
That's
these.
an uphill battle for them though. Capcom kind of fucked the game up when it comes to remakes and remasters.
Yeah,
And I mean that in the best possible way. They absolutely fucked the game because they were like, look, we'll just take the time. I mean, it's taken them what? It's been like 2 years in between each one
yeah.
to tear it down in its entirety and rebuild it. And it's basically the same level of elite in this generation that it was when it dropped the first time.
If not better, like which is crazy. So I feel that I wasn't into Resident Evil until these remakes, and now I'm very invested in every. I played, 2. I played 7. I want to jump back into 3, 8, Village. All these
I love
things.
that. I don't know what we ain't talking about 6 though.
So
Yeah,
so again, like I tell people, I look at 6 as just like an action game. I just play it, I roll through it. I try to make myself excited. So when I play with Jake, I use no weapons. I literally hit everybody with punches and run around. So I try to make myself excited about the game.
See,
But
that shit right there, that's the logic I had with people who swear by coffee. If you gotta do that much shit to it, it ain't good.
hey, listen. I was about to agree with you wholeheartedly, Tony, but I drink that coffee pretty regularly,
I
so
know
I
you be
can't.
drinking that hot bean water.
Listen, man, it's an acquired taste. That's all I can say.
That's for
It's
damn
just,
sure.
I know
hey,
they say they remaking 5, and I can't wait till they do that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that one.
I'm interested in both 5 because 5 was like it's probably pretty underrated. I know I underrated at the time because I didn't really I wasn't as invested in Resident Evil back then. But 6 I am kind of interested in if they'll like fix
They're
it. You
going
know
to.
what I mean?
They're going
Like,
to.
but like, what do they do to bring it in? Like, because 4 they from what I understand, I haven't tried 4 yet, but from what I understand, they kind of included elements that they have now where it kind of brings it a little bit more in line with the horror of the other games. Whereas back in the day, 4 was definitely like the foray into action that led to 5 and 6, right? So I don't know if maybe 6 could end up kind of doing the same thing and getting a little bit back to the right path, but
I think they do kind of what they were trying to do in 6, and Leon's story was more of the old school Resident Evil regular zombies.
mm,
Chris was more like 5. I mean, because it's coming directly from 5.
right.
Jake was like a balance of 2 because you had the big ass zombie chasing you like the whole game. So they were trying to do that. I feel like if they fix certain things and they really like take Leon's story and really make it like old school Resident Evil, it'll probably get people. Then now you have a choice of who you want to play and how you play the game. I think that will.
Breaking it down like that makes it actually sound like something I definitely would want because they could make it a blend of like the 2 and 3. Like all that sounds perfect, and they wouldn't have to dig from the first time they done it. They could dig from these remakes and just make this a greatest hits of all the remakes. That could be dope.
And then like if you play it, then it's like it caters to everybody. So like, hey, if I
Yeah,
want to play old school type Resident Evil, I'll just play Leon's story. If I want to play this version, I'll do ABC next one. Keep it moving.
yeah. I could
Do
dig.
y'all
I can
think
dig.
that they're gonna finish? I mean, because 6 is basically the last of the remakes that has to happen.
Mm.
Because then we jumped into 7 with Ethan. Do y'all think that once they get to 6, they remake it and now we get like the next numbered entry? Because I feel like they're just gonna hold off.
I've heard rumblings throughout the industry. Like this is not me reporting rumors, but this is me reporting on other people who report rumors that they're kind of talking about Resident Evil 9 a little bit already. Like it might be a little bit more imminent than people expect. So I'm hoping that's the case because what I'm hearing as well is that Zero and Code Veronica are next, which I think
Need
that's
that
pretty
code
dope.
Veronica.
Yeah, because technically, like that was the next numbered entry before 4 was actually Resident Evil 4, I guess. So I really want to re-experience that. Also, I want to point out how terrible it is that we are on the Silent Hill entry of this list, and we've been talking about Resident Evil for like 10 minutes. That's not good, Konami. You really got to step it up with these showcases.
Not
But
our
speaking of,
fault.
yeah, no, not at all. But speaking of Capcom, though, they did actually pop back up with Monster Hunter Wilds, which looks very interesting. I feel like this trailer was a lot more focused towards Monster Hunter fans who know what they're seeing new and stuff. So it's just pretty dope to have a new big mainline Monster Hunter game getting announced because that's a lot of people's jam. It should be mine, but it's a lot of people's jam.
I have never really gotten into Monster Hunter. It's one of those games where the controls just feel so weird, and it
Yeah,
just takes me time to settle into the shit, which is wild because I jumped on Dauntless for like 3 weeks straight, and I'm like, this is basically just free to play Monster Hunter, but for some reason, I'm enjoying this way more.
bro, same, exact same. Like all of what you said is weird. Like I have Monster Hunter World, and I'm like, I really dig this, except I cannot wrap my head around how to move around and do all the shit I need to do. And if I stop and play it, I will. Just like fucking Souls and all these other games that come out and try to do something different. Like you just kind of stick with it until you get it and it's gonna flow. But I just haven't yet. And then Dauntless came out and it felt like I don't want to minimize Dauntless, but it did feel like the free to play version where it's hella accessible.
I mean, it
And
was. That's
yeah,
exactly what it was, the free to play version, but it was
yeah,
really fun, controlled well.
yeah, and interesting. It just I don't know why I didn't stick around for it in the end, but it was pretty fun. And I know that I would enjoy Monster Hunter because it does have that same like patient combat sort of vibe to it as some of the games I like. So hopefully this is the one for me. I'm gonna try World again and see if I can get into it. But the final announcement of the showcase, the kind of the big one that everybody was kind of talking about, surprisingly enough, Astro Bot, if you're not familiar, is PlayStation's we made a mascot character. Like, if you've ever seen a motherfucker pop up and be like, "Hey, I'm the mascot," it's Astro Bot. And it worked. Like everybody's loved Astro Bot. He had a VR game, Astro Bot's Rescue Mission, that was getting compared to Super Mario 64 by people. I've never played this game. I can't tell you why. Like a lot of people like me were like, "Yo, word, that's crazy." Like that. But I mean, like I'm hearing people I respect a lot say that. Then you buy a new PS5 and you get Astro's Playroom built into it. And I played that one. I
So
think
fun. It was so fun.
it doesn't make sense how much fun. And now I understand why people fell in love with this little fucking VR because I'm like, this is just some real tight ass gameplay. It has so many little love letters to PlayStation games. You're running around inside the console, and that's like my favorite type of little kid bullshit. Like that's my whole thing when I was a child. You know what I mean? So ever since then, everybody's been asking, please give us a full-fledged Astro game. And now we're getting one just straight up called Astro Bot. From the sound of it, it's going to have over 80 levels. Like it sounds like a really, really big game. The PlayStation character cameos are going to play a big role. I think this is going to be a pretty big deal for PlayStation being kind of like their Mario-ish character, but we'll see if he can actually achieve that. I don't know, how hype either of you guys are for this particular one, being that it's a platformer.
It's something that, like I said, that I would play when not when I'm trying to escape from, the other type games. I just want to play something real quick, something that I really don't have to like think and stress my brain. Like, all right, I know I can play 4 or 5 levels of this and turn it off, go to sleep, and go to work the next day. Um, just break away from my daily routine. It does look fun.
Yeah.
And I think it reminds me of like Little Big Planet. And I never thought that game would be that fun until I start playing it. And then they start having the custom worlds and all this other shit. And I was just like, what the fuck is that? Like, these are little sack people. Like, it shouldn't be this fun, but it was like the most fun I've had. So I feel like you can have that sort of vibe where it's like, once you play, you'll be like, damn, like, I actually have fun playing it.
Exactly. Like, and mind you, Little Big Planet was the last time Sony was like, we need a platformer mascot, and same type of deal.
Oh, we need to just bring back mascots. Like that's something we was missing in the game. It's just mascots and 3D platformers. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm all in on this shit when it comes out. I mean,
Yeah.
80 level. That's a lot of shit to do. But
Yep.
it looks exactly like the old shit used to feel. Spyro, Crash, all of it. It looks like how it should. Um,
Facts.
I think the only thing is whether or not it's gonna stick because you know, people are locked in on kind of what the accepted genres are nowadays. And
Yeah.
3D platformers ain't one of them. I'm here to tell you, motherfuckers, man, just a lot of classics was born out of that. Y'all need to get on this shit.
Straight up. Like, we are missing out on that element of,
We
like I
losing
said,
recipes.
straight up, like very tight controls, like that style of like open world, so to speak. Like, it's not an actual open world, but it's like a hub world of just like lighthearted shit to do is important for games. Like, you know what I mean? For your kids, for your like James said, for your chill time. That's the first type of coast game that we had. Just like
Yep.
run around in the Mushroom Kingdom and fuck around. You know what I mean?
Banjo Kazooie is still blowing a lot of y'all favorite shit out the water.
Facts. And then you turn it around to the fact that they're talking about this game has a lot of die and retry levels, which was the first version
I
of
need
what we
that.
get. Yeah, like that's that skill shit. Like, that's when you actually tighten up your controls and you can actually speed run, or you can actually like hone how good you are. We haven't even talked about what I think is actually the thing that is the most exciting. That's a lot of people weren't really talking about, but this game has straight up potential, and not even just potential. It looks to be a Kingdom Hearts as platformer, like where you are bouncing from Sony World to Sony World, just platforming through the world and meeting up with like the Astro Bot version of these characters. And that sounds like a fun ass time. They could do some unique shit. And if you've played Astro's Playroom, they put a lot of heart and like presentation into the stuff they do, and that could be really something special. So I'm looking forward to this very much. And that's actually coming later this year, September 6th.
How
So
much time I put into those, like you said, die and retry levels. That's the ultimate. Nah, one more shot. Like I'm not finna go to bed like a bitch. Like nah, we finna sit down and we finna knock this out. And the level that always comes to mind is I think it's called Stairway to Heaven on Crash Bandicoot, the first Crash Bandicoot. And it's a bridge and open sky and clouds. And the bridge is rickety as all fuck. You got obstacles on it. There's a specific point in the level where you basically have to pixel perfect stand on the ropes of the bridge and walk across. It's fucking stressful, and like there's nothing like it. Like I when I played the remake of the first one, I think I spent a solid 2 hours on that level because I was like, yo, I'm not going to sleep on this. I'm not going to sleep on this.
Crash underrated when it comes to being hard as fuck. Like, there
Dog,
was
the
some
first Crash
moments
Bandicoot game is insanely difficult.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, but also very very fun. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
great game, all time
abs-
classic. But it's rip your hair out difficult at times.
big fans. We might need to do an episode just on like best 3D platformers, because I feel like this is a whole conversation that needs to be had.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I need to sing the praises of Crash 2. I'm learning that Crash 3 was just like the full-fledged Crash game with everything in it, and I appreciate that. I played them all back in the day,
the bazooka.
but man, it was so much fun. But Crash 2, man, it just has my heart. I don't know what it is about that one, but
Crash 2 was the classic. That was the classic
yeah,
of the series.
it's something about the first sequel where it's like, here's the first game, but just more shit. That's just
Shout
the
out to
right
Crash
amount of
4
more
too.
shit.
They nailed that shit.
Man, I still haven't gotten a chance to play it. Need to.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
man. But hopefully this game can kind of step into that same boat. Like we said, we're talking about Sony's last couple successful platformers, which is Crash, Sackboy. It's funny how we talk about, Sony's finally got one, and we just ran through the history of how much we loved all the other ones that they've had. So, this could be, but I feel like something special about Astro where it's like owning the PlayStation brand, like you flying around on a DualSense in the joint. You know what I mean? There's a PS4 or PS5 monster in that motherfucker. It's kind of just like the most on the nose. So looking forward to that. That was like the big announcement for the whole showcase. Which is why, there was some stuff there that I'm actually interested in trying out. Like I said, some of those action games, Astro Bot, but overall, just kind of a shrug of a press conference. I don't think it bodes poorly for Summer Games Fest, though. I think that this means that we're going to see some more interesting announcements there. Like, if we're going to see a Ghost of Tsushima 2, it's going to be at Summer Games Fest. Like,
oh yeah, this is where all the heat's coming. We got all the low, I won't say weak shit. We got all the lower tier shit out the way. This is the one. I mean, it's the E3 replacement. You can't come weak.
Right. Exactly. You got to save at least a big hitter or two, and maybe it won't even be Sony did say that there was no Sony PlayStation Studios games coming this year, so maybe this is indicative of how much they're kind of falling back, and it's going to be the third parties that's going to kind of lead the push, and you'll see those at Summer Games Fest. Like, even if they're PlayStation exclusive, like, you could still see like whoever it might be popping up, show up there. So definitely looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. We're gonna have the coverage on lock for sure for that. But
shit, ain't that next week?
Actually, yes. Yes, it is next week. So, but that's gonna mean that we're gonna have to like realign some like recording schedules and whatnot, because we usually record these on Fridays. I know Microsoft's press conference is on Sunday, so we might want to realign and see if we can do it on Sunday. Maybe the episode comes out a little later and we do it on Monday. But we'll kind of figure that out, make an announcement on Twitter for anybody that's curious for when it's gonna come out. But any final thoughts on like how we feeling about our PS5s going forward, like after this state of play?
I mean, my backlog heavy anyway, so I feel good about my PlayStation. This will just add to it.
Fair.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of like, hero shooters, and, right now I've been playing a lot of Predecessor, Paragon, whatever people want to call it. So, when that beta drop for Marvel Rivals, I'll probably be playing that for a while. Like I said, it doesn't change my mind. It's just like I said, I felt like they were just like, here's something to, get you guys warmed up. Here's the appetizer. Next week you'll actually get the full course meal. So like I said, I'll be more disappointed next week if we don't get anything cool. Then I'd be like, okay, what the fuck are y'all doing? So I'll wait.
I mean, the other thing is, if y'all gonna drop anything dope, y'all need to do it before July 19th.
Yeah.
Because once College Football 25 drop, I ain't got no room for nothing else at all. My sister, that's a week after my birthday. My sister already told me she got me, so I already know I'm locked in.
I'm getting that jump too.
There's gonna be a whole moment. Been waiting for years for that shit to come back. I'm already here. So
I'm getting that. The only time I'm taking a break from that is to go see that Wolverine Deadpool movie.
That's it.
And I'm getting that. And I'm getting that Wolverine popcorn order.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just that, because that's like, first of all, that confirms the cows in the movie, which is pretty dope. But
I mean, I always thought the close up of him saying "Let's fucking go," he has the cowl on. And they just CG'd it off.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but I can see it. All I know is I'm all in, and I don't really need to see shit else. After the popcorn bucket was all I needed. That's it. But
crazy that it looks like a fleshlight.
It's
absolutely nuts. It's on purpose.
Not crazy at all.
Absolutely no, but I'm saying it's totally on purpose that they did that.
It is crazy that
if you saw the commercial and the way that
the way he was like,
that was on purpose.
Man, we live in a time, guys. This is an interesting time to live. Let us know if y'all gonna get the fleshlight bucket And how y'all felt about Sony's PlayStation State of Play, man? We definitely want to hear from you guys. So leave us a comment below, man. Definitely like and subscribe on YouTube because we want to hear from you guys, man. This has been an interesting start to the State of Play week, or excuse me, the Summer Games Fest week. I feel like Nintendo should probably be coming up next. Hopefully we'll get that announcement in the next week, but they actually already confirmed that they're coming in June, so we'll get another one of those. We'll be back to our console retrospective, so got a lot of dope ass content coming you guys' way, man. But until next time, man, I am Kendall. This has been James and Tony, and make sure you guys keep gaming. Take care.